Hey guys, my name is Ryan,
And my name is Miska.
and welcome to Overwatch Central. So, a new hero has arrived, and with that the process of a new meta will begin. Not only is Sombra somewhat meta breaking in her own right, but there are also some pretty major changes on the PTR before BlizzCon. So with these two things put together, there's a lot to talk about. So in this series we will have a look at the changes and predict what this may do to certain heroes in terms of their popularity and playability. Will these popular must-pick heroes fall down the ladder? Or will some heroes that were literally unplayed in the last few tournaments have their time to shine? Welcome to our What's the Meta Sombra patch predictions.
Before we get started, it's worth adding that there is more here than just a new hero, and that these changes are still in the PTR. Blizzard did say to not expect all of these fairly controversial changes to hit the live servers, but for the sake of this video, we're saying that all the changes were greenlit into the live server, because if they're not, frankly that's just not changing anything. And this video is for talking about our predictions for the meta changes. There's also a chance we may see composition lineup change from the initial 2-2-2 setup. Sombra has such a strong hold on the game in two ways. She's very good at hunting pickoffs and bullying backlines, and also controlling territory and parts of the maps by hacking health packs. It's going to be interesting to see how pro players manage to make use of both sides of Sombra and how aggressively she will be played. What we might see is one of the tank slots being swapped out for Sombra, so she can be played tactically and shot call while still retaining 2 DPS slots. I know that's a pretty bold thing to say, but that's kind of what this series is all about, and I think it's an interesting talking point as well. Maybe we won't see Sombra at all in the meta and she'll very rarely, if ever, be picked. Who knows, this series is here for kind of discussing that.
So we have our offense heroes first, and no doubt our new hero is going to soar to the tops in terms of playtime. I think we're going to see some minor changes and iterations to Sombra, but currently everybody just wants to have a play on a new character and make the most of her incredible utility. I never thought I'd say this, but I miss quick play without a hero limit, because I really do want to try and play Sombra without everybody trying to leave the game once they don't get her. But anyway, back on track. Soldier also received a pretty hefty buff with his bullet damage being increased. Not only that, he is a fairly strong hero against our new Mexican friend. So with the rise of Sombra, we should see in turn the rise of Soldier. And because of this, we expect to see McCree to drop down the ladder in some capacity. His ultimate just isn't as good as it once was, and with Soldier having much more of a consistent DPS, especially to a sort of mid-level I suppose, we expect the two to switch places in terms of the meta. Reaper may get hampered with the nerf to Ana's Nana boost, which we will go over later in the support section, but he can still get a lot done with the Beyblade combo, especially if a Sombra throws in a cheeky EMP beforehand to shut down Zenyatta ults, Reinhardt shields, so on and so forth. So we expect him to stay where he is. Pharah also got buffed before and after BlizzCon. Explosion damage has been increased and it doesn't knock back as far. She also got a lift jet increase of 35%, making her a little bit harder to hit in the air. While Soldier may make her life hell still, Pharah should be in a much stronger position now. We have Tracer and Genji last, and it's hard to tell whether Sombra will take these characters' positions in the meta, or whether we will see some form of Sombra Genji, Sombra Tracer lineups in a very aggressive dive lineup. I feel that Sombra does do Tracer's job a little bit better, so I expect we'll see less of our Cockney gal because of this.
Now onto tanks. The big change here is the D.Va health and movement increase. Now sporting 600 health with her movement speed increased by 25% whilst firing her cannons, D.Va is quite the monster. Not only does this make D.Va the biggest mosquito in the world with how much of a pain she's going to be, but also she's a fan favorite, so we expect her to go up in some popularity. Even if it's just a minor bump, it will still most likely affect her pick rate. With Reinhardt losing his shield when hacked, we may see him just a little bit less in the current meta. It would definitely be a shock to see such a regularly picked hero fall in any sense, but Sombra can really bully those tanks if she gets close. Roadhog has taken another big hit from Sombra, being able to hack into his ultimate, hook and heal, so we kind of expect to see Roadhog fall even further into the pit. Winston for once has it pretty good, with the 8 being strong against Sombra, as well as Myro basically showing off how he's meant to be played in the World Cup. It's definitely easy to see our scientists climb up to the meta, either being an off tank or even a main tank. So Winston, pretty strong. Zarya has been nerfed with the power that she gains from her shield being brought down 20%, so her shield being completely destroyed would give back 40% weapon charge and not 50%. It's a change we expected to see in terms of clipping Zarya's wings a little bit, but I don't really think we're going to see her drop out of the meta entirely, if at all. Sombra being able to hack Zarya's shield HP as well will be something for Zarya mains to consider. Just losing that much HP instantly is a pretty big deal.
Not too much to note with supports other than Ana's Nana boost no longer giving speed increase. It feels horrible, but it's a justified nerf nonetheless. Because of this, we may see Zenyatta take back that off support role away from Ana, but again it's really hard to gauge. It'll be interesting to see if the pros decide whether or not to have her on their team with this nerf. But again, once we know this stuff, we will come back with another what's the meta to go over what has actually happened. Lucio is as Lucio does, and even with a nerf to his Ambit Up heal, we expect him to still be around pretty much all of the time. Mercy got buffed with her self heal kicking in after 1 second and no damage, boosting her survivability and making her less of an easy target. So again, she is in with a chance of being on a player's team with Ana's Fall from Grace. And then we have Symmetra, who is still meh but is getting reworked, so we'll see on that one. Last but not least, we have Zen, consistently good in most situations and in a much healthier situation than he has been in the past. Overall, apart from Symmetra, the supports look fairly healthy and in a much better viable situation than they did before, which is always a good sign to see.
Finally, defense. Bastion really hasn't gone anywhere and is likely to still be fairly useless in most situations. Hanzo is a regular pick now and again, albeit really shouldn't be. Junkrat was buffed with his ultimate animation finishing a lot quicker, but again, still situational and not as strong as others currently. Mei has been working wonders ever since that Atlantic showdown, and she has been nerfed with her ultimate cost increased, but will still be picked a fair bit and useful in a lot of situations. Torbjorn has had a lot of new changes, but similar to Bastion and Symmetra, could really use a rework to make him more viable. There's been the passive gain to his scrap and so on, but I don't think it's really enough to properly bring him back. He might be alright sometimes, but not the greatest. Widow was buffed though with her quickscope speed, so we expect to see more of her, just not as much as that one time where she was absolutely dominating in the meta. The Widow change is definitely solid and should bring back some Widowmaker players at least, but she's far from OP now.
And that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Do let us know what you agree on in terms of what you expect to see in the meta. And do also let us know what stuff you don't agree on. Do you think there's some heroes that we might have glossed over being too good or too bad in this situation? Do let us know in the comments. We are really interested to see what you guys have to say. And who knows, we may discuss it in the future. Thanks again for watching. Take care, and we'll see you next time.